It's Give Valiant, and it's time to get Valiant with number 192. I'm not alone. We got good old Eric back in the feel of it. How you doing?
I'm so happy to be back. I've been away for a little bit. It's been weird, and I just had life going on, and I was in Kentucky for one of the episodes that I missed. And
I'm sorry.
I was camping at Mammoth Cave National Park, so it was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been doing stuff, but happy to be here. Get to talk about some Valiant comics, so that'll be really awesome.
Nice. Yeah, we got a new day. Trying this out, because life happens for some of us, all of us, and we got to kind of adjust when life changes a little bit. Dude, but it's glad to have you back, man, and, hope that we can get it working again every day, all the days, all the time. Valiant, it's happening. So, on the road to 200.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I didn't even think about that. Where are we? 192. That's insane, man.
192. As Josh would say, the big 192.
The big 192. We're there. We did it. We got to the one that we were shooting for.
It's literally one show at a time these days, guys. Just the way life is. One day at a time. Oh, man. So, yeah, happy to have you on, dude. Happy to have you back. And everybody who's getting on, make sure you're subscribing, liking, doing all the fun things. And then make sure you're in the chat. We got a couple people on right now. Make sure you're in that chat, letting us know what you thought of these books, going from there. And, I want to we got a little bit of stuff to share, but I saw a cool darn image today. And we got some more stuff to have you guys show at the end of the show. So make sure you're not jumping off too early so you can see some exclusive things, first seen here type of things.
So
thanks, Greg.
Speaking of that, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Huge thanks to Greg. He hooked us up with an exclusive image that we're going to get to show everybody. So really excited to show that. But yeah, this Ninjak cover, this is going to be the free comic book day cover, right?
Can I say that they listened to me when I said get rid of that other one they solicited? So they listened to Give Valiant. Josh and Eric have been saying that since episode 2. Oh, they listen to us. We say it and it happens, right? They will bring out Side Lords, and nobody should have listened, but they did. No, but Punk Mambo.
We got her own series. That was us.
That's it. That's all of it. So that's Give Valiant, and so we got a new cover for new comic or free comic book day, and this is beautiful, man. This is Colin King in his glory, with blonde flowing locks though, but good.
It's light brown. It's brown.
Yeah, it's light brown.
I love Ninjak. Ninjak is a great character. And I think this is a really badass image of Ninjak. I believe it's Tyler Kirkham's art. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a great artist, so this is really awesome. We didn't even talk about this, but speaking of great artists, what is that artist that they got there that's doing a cover that they teased about? Dexter, oh man, I cannot remember his last name.
Morgan?
No, not Dexter Morgan. I feel like an idiot now. I'm looking it up. I'm Googling.
Anyway, what about it?
Dexter Soy. They teased a Dexter Soy Valiant cover. Exo Manowar, I believe it was. It looks like it's going to be amazing because his art is bonkers.
Dude, that's cool. Has he? I believe he's done. Has he done Valiant before?
No.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Greg was showing us that they had teased a little snippet of it. We didn't get to see any more than anybody else, but that the full cover is coming in upcoming solicits. And that's going to be really cool. I was really excited for that, and his art is so amazing. So I hope he does more with Valiant. Just thought of that because Tyler Kirkham is such a great artist, another artist that I always want to see more from with Valiant. And it's just cool to see such amazing art. That's one thing I want to talk about with the issues we talk about today. It's always great when we have that's one thing about a comic book is that no matter how good or bad the story is, if you have really good art, it's at least fun to look at the pages and read through the book for the art.
Right.
So that's always, I think it's a lot harder for writing to save a book with bad art than it is for art to save a book with mediocre writing, because art can do a lot of the legwork.
Right. Well, when you really look at art into its fullest, right? If the script is really good and you're getting good scenery, you're getting good storytelling within the art, right? So much of the art is the story itself. It should be, right? The rest of it should be dialogue, right? And so that's what's where a good artist can really make a writer look better, and a writer that's doing a really good script can make an artist look better if they're kind of giving them a good direction. And then sometimes when that's the collaboration of it, which is one reason why I love comics, is that collaboration that happens, because it is tying in a story where somebody's got an image and then they're portraying it over. I mean, it's pretty damn cool. I dig it, and I'm all I like the today's art. But yeah, so I mean, but Valiant news, Ninjak's come in a month. Shadow Man's been phenomenal, and yeah, I think it's time for one of these real quick. And I didn't do it over Eric's voice. This is a spoiler alert. So
spoiler.
We're going to spoil some things because there's a lot of spoilery things to talk about today with issue number 5 and then issue number 6. So I think we got some really cool stuff to talk about on this. So if you haven't read this, it may not be what it was going to be. Some things were a surprise. Some things that weren't revealed were a surprise, I guess, to say. That there wasn't more into it. But ultimately, when we look at this book, let's give up number 5 some credit. I mean, we had Paul Levitz doing it. So Lee did the art. Ulysses Areola, Simon Bolin, Aman Carpina did the A cover. Casper Wingard did the B cover. I'm not sure who did the other one. But these all looked really, really good. Covers looked sharp.
Yeah, that's one thing that The Visitor has been super consistent on, is that the whole series has had amazing covers.
Character design's been phenomenal.
Yeah, the character design is amazing, and it really lends itself to amazing cover work. Like some of them that are like just the head look really, really cool. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this book. So starting with issue number 5, I felt like this issue was it felt like a lot of exposition. Like it started out with exposition at the beginning, kind of reminding everybody what's come before, what's already happened in the previous issues, and how we got to where we are in the story. And then the whole issue just kind of felt like I was being told the story more than experiencing the story, if that makes sense. So that was probably the biggest complaint that I had about issue number 5.
Yeah. You know, it's hard. I guess it's comparative. I guess when you pull it up, because I read both of them back to back, and when you put up MJ Kim, I mean, I'm not familiar with So Lee, but MJ Kim, I felt like did a phenomenal job, and I do think that the issue number 5 had some good art, but I just don't think it was quite on. You know what I mean? It was like you're talking like good to great, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, there was some images like one here in the center on the right panel. That's up. It's the faces are very, I know faces can be hard when you're at a distance, but that seems like it's more in the foreground. I don't know. The images were okay, but yeah, it did seem like a lot of like, let's catch you up. But I mean, the last book came out like over a year and a half ago. So it makes sense that we had to kind of get caught up into some form or fashion in that way. And, and I think it had to do it because it had to kind of have a resolve, and if it would have went slower and it gave a little bit more, I think we would have had 2 more issues or whatnot. So this could have been easily like an 8-issue series. But I think we needed to get some of this data, some of this information out that was kind of revealed in this one. So I don't think that this had all of the tells that were in there, besides the visitor, who basically informs, forget the detective, informs her that who he is, who he's from the future, and there's bad stuff happening and why he's coming, and kind of lets her kind of stay right there on that. And so And then I get kind of confused. I think the next big parts happen all in issue number 6. So
Yeah, I think that you made a really good point. As far as the art goes, like the art in this issue is far from bad. It's actually good art.
right.
However, when you've had 4 previous issues of MJ Kim, and you know that like you, I read this issue and issue 6 back to back. I waited till I had both of them to read them. And going from this issue to MJ Kim, yeah, when you go from good to at the top of the game great, it's a really hard comparison to make. Like the small little things that usually wouldn't stand out as being bad in a page end up becoming glaring when compared to how flawlessly perfect MJ Kim executes every single panel on every single page. So I think that there was just that difference, like if every issue of this book had been done by the same artist, like you wouldn't notice that. Like you wouldn't notice like that the art was, lacking in any way, because, this issue 5 is not, like I said, it's not bad art, but, MJ Kim is just a master. And I think that the art in issue 6 was, a return to what we had seen in the previous issues. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. But again, I mean, it's really hard to say that stuff because I don't want to take away from the art in issue 5 and pretend like it's not good, because it really is. I want to stress that. It's so much better in issue 6 that, I think MJ Kim just really knocks it out of the park.
And that's one that's an interesting move to get a different artist, especially when we had time to actually change it out, right? Like, why did MJ Kim not do this one? I probably was ready for the print back in 2019 is probably my assumption. But when there was such a gap, you know what I mean? It was kind of a jarring change. And it makes me, I guess not pay for another artist to do this issue. But when you have 5 to 6 issues and one of them's different, and it's not a change in timeline, it's not a change in, character and point of view, it's still all in the same point of view, same reference, makes me, it's like, guys, come on, get MJ Kim to do it while you had that time gap that was there to kind of cover it up. But it is what it is. That's kind of like a nitpicky thing.
Yeah.
But again, it was good. Just was, like I say, MJ Kim's just at that level, and that's saying a lot more about MJ Kim than it is saying anything bad about the other.
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I think that the negatives on this issue were really just that it felt like a lot of exposition. And I don't even just mean like getting us caught up to where things, everything that happened in the previous issues. I just mean like everything that happened in this issue felt like it was being told to me, like all the characters were like telling us what they were doing and why they were doing it. And it didn't feel like it was being naturally revealed through the story. Mm-hmm. So like, this issue felt a little bit clunky on the writing. That was my biggest complaint, I think, on this issue.
I can hear what you're saying too, because it seemed like the first 4 issues were a little bit more like underhanded, right? They were a little bit more like they were holding their cards a little closer to their vest. And then it's like, okay, now we're telling you it all. I dug the narration of the Visitor. I thought the narration of the Visitor was good because it gets you to kind of uncover the Visitor as you were going, a little bit more information. In issue number 4, we kind of revealed that his partner that he was paired with, because he's positronic, was killed, and so it gives you that motive of why the Visitor's there. So we got that in the issue prior. And so it makes sense to bring in that character's dialogue. But I get what you're saying. It was, to a degree, the mustache twirl, or let me tell you my grand scheme.
Yes, very much so. I really felt like that was a little heavy-handed. Because, yeah, exactly like you said, the previous issues were all so understated. It felt like a mystery book in those first 4 issues. Mm-hmm. And then a little bit got revealed as we got toward the end of issue 4. And then we come into issue 5, and it just feels like an info dump. Like, okay, now we're going to tell you everything that's going on. And that made this feel like the weakest issue of the series writing-wise. So it's a little bit tough for me to, like, know how to score this. There were some funny moments, actually, the page that you put up on the screen. I thought it was funny when he's like falling out of the tree and stuff. Like, I thought that was kind of cool, and the art was really good. That looks, I think the coloring really lifts the art.
Is that really what it is? He's falling out of a tree? I could not quite catch it, to be honest.
Yeah, because I think like the next page, he's like laying on the back, laying on his back on the ground, because he's like the trees in this timeline or the trees in this time of the Earth aren't sturdy enough or something like that. I don't remember the exact wording, but he's basically complaining that the trees weren't strong enough to hold him because he's a positron.
It just looked weird because there's this like action motion in the left panel, and then in the center panel, it's now on the right. So it was like I thought something like shot out at him. So that just kind of clarity of the art. I couldn't really read the panels and what happened there.
Yeah, I took it as he was jumping from one side of the tree line over the road to the other side, the tree line on the other side of the road, and then he's like grabbing a branch and it breaks and he falls.
Oh, okay, because I couldn't make out what that necessarily was, but that makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, and I thought it was a funny moment. I thought it was, a cute little thing that happened.
Yeah.
And like it's kind of endearing to the character. So, like, not everything, like I said, my complaints are relatively minor. It's not huge problems that I have with this issue. I do think it was good. I do think, though, like I said before, that this is probably the weakest issue in the series, but it's still a good issue. I would probably, just because I do want to talk about issue 6, so I'm going to just score this. I'd probably give it like a...
Letter grades. Let's go high school letter grades.
High school letter grades?
Yeah. Let's change it up.
Oh, my God. That's tough. I was thinking numbers. High school letter grades. So it's not an A+. This is... This is solidly in that B to B plus range for me.
Yeah. I think I would sit that right at a B. You know what I mean? Like 83%. You know what I mean? If you're looking at it. So definitely, a solid issue number 4, issue number 5, not conclusion, the issue up to a conclusion, to kind of get you anticipated for, hey, there's some stuff that's going to be revealed next issue. So yeah, I'm going to get right there. And I'll go with you on a B. So,
I do think this issue was where we got that one moment where the one character whose name I cannot think of got strangled, or basically strangled himself.
The nephew, yeah,
but revealed himself to be the guy that strangled the nephew.
Yes, and so that's we're spoiling issue number 6 now, guys.
Did that happen? Did he get killed in issue number 6? I thought he got killed.
I think he got killed, but he didn't really reveal who he was until issue number 6.
Well, he said Dr. Silk in issue number 5. I'm pretty sure. And then,
either way, he said it during these 2 books, and so that was one of the big reveals. One of the big spoilers is the guy who keeps wearing the red scarf, Dr. Silk. So that was one of the big reveals, and there's a cool epilogue at the end of this. It's awesome. So yeah, I thought that was really cool that this tied back into Dr. Silk, because I think that's a really, really cool character that we don't see enough of, especially in the modern Valiant, or like the present day Valiant line. So having that tied into this book, I thought felt really cool, and it made it, something we've harped on a lot in the past is, how important it is for I agree.
That was her name. How important it is for the universe to feel interconnected, and bringing Dr. Silk into this really made that connection to the wider Valiant universe and felt really awesome. So I thought that was really cool to do that, and I was really happy with that. I do want to say that art team, MJ Kim and Ulysses Ariola, just absolutely phenomenal. Just such a great team. They work so well together. I would absolutely read more books done with MJ Kim's lines and Ariola's colors.
Absolutely. And again, some phenomenal covers, some great pinups of the Visitor for sure on here. And then MJ Kim. I mean, you just see this art and it's damn good. So I mean, the Visitor gets the turn here. He's now no longer the heel. They know that he's actually in for the good. And then the characters that I believe the detective, I think it was that's changed. So yeah.
Yeah, that cool moment when she like takes over the helicopter and the pilot is just like, wait a minute, why are you working with the guy we've been hunting this whole time or hiding from? And the guy we've been protecting is the one you're going after. She's like, it's above your pay grade.
It's kind of good in the middle of it, right? To have that sense of humor was great. And then just this guy's power, though, to take her over to start shooting or to attempt to shoot herself, was some damn good stuff.
Yeah.
And 100% agree with this too. The miniseries was far better than Savage, and the art was better than the previews on the upcoming Ninjak. Yes. But yeah, I think we got some cool reveals.
Especially these MJ Kim pages.
Oh, yeah. There's too many good ones too. So,
see, that was actually a moment. So that right there at the beginning of issue 6, it kind of rehashes a scene that's right at the beginning or right at the end of issue 5. And I felt like the way it was drawn in panel in the end of issue 5 was a little bit clunky. And then you get MJ Kim come in and show basically the same scene at the beginning of this issue. And it was like, that looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that to me was like just one of those moments where it's not only like the execution and the rendering of the lines, it's like picking the angles, like the artist in a comic book is like, the cinematographer.
Jinx.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it that to me like made such a huge difference in this issue versus the previous issue. Again, not that I'm talking down on, what was her name, Sue Lee? Whatever the previous artist was. MJ Kim is just so phenomenal that it really steps up the enjoyment of reading the issue. I felt like this was really good. And like I said, we got that huge info dump in issue 5, so it felt like issue 6 was able to flow a lot more naturally, and everything just kind of went, and it just felt more smooth. So I really enjoyed this issue a lot. Seeing Dauber get to be a badass was really cool. She's like flying a helicopter. She's kicking stuff, and she's.
You know what was actually really cool in 5 though, is when the Visitor basically let her read his mind by having some computer tech in her. That was actually a really cool part in issue number 5, and it kind of carries over. Right. So it was really cool that he was able to transfer, what he knows on New Japan. Spoiler alert. And what's happening there with Father. So that's the goal, is to get Father, to stop Father, to stop New Japan, and kind of run from there.
Yeah. I thought it was cool that he was able to like Vulcan mind meld with her, basically. That was a really cool moment for them. And that led to the end of this issue. I think it was one of the epilogue pages where he's like touching her shoulder. He's like, maybe you could be my new person, or I'll just go be my own person. And he takes off. And I thought that was a funny moment.
I dig that, right? And so, I mean, really, there's not really a spoiler of who the Visitor is, right? It's he wasn't, Rye. He wasn't, Pete Stanchek. He wasn't, somebody from, an existing. That was kind of the weird, but the part that played out is we got to see who the Visitor was, or the Visitor. We got to see who Father actually was. We got to see who Silk, you know what I mean, where Silk came from, and kind of like the technology, the design, where kind of New Japan kind of came from. Sadly, the Visitor seemed like it was unsuccessful. So it and I like the end of it. It actually says the beginning. And so it left a lot of opportunities for lots of places to grow as a good miniseries, and these characters to grow, because that they're going other places. And it's really the beginning of the Rise story, right? It's the beginning of New Japan.
Yeah, and they showed that like killing that character who was the father of Father wasn't the end of Father. Like that there was still enough people and enough of the AI left over that they were going to be able to still create Father. And so like I think it would be really interesting to see, a further story. And if we could get another story in this line where it's, these characters, including Dr. Silk and the scientist is still working on Father, I think you could get some really cool, like, proto-Rye action going on, because you still have the positron in the Visitor. You have this lady who is, like, mostly human but has machine parts. You have, the budding AI that's being developed. You have Dr. Silk, who is always a crazy character. Like, I just think that there's so many, like, cool elements there that the right writer could come in and make something really, really awesome from it.
Yeah. And the thing about this, you look at this as the whole series, they gave little clues, right? I mean, I think we all speculated that it's New Japan, it's Father. I think that was kind of what we all speculated. But I almost wish that they would have given a little bit more concrete clues throughout the book, as so much as to put them all in 5 and 6.
Yeah.
They were clues, but I wanted a little bit more concrete into it, to have like a little bit more revealed, you know what I mean, concretely in each issue, and maybe have a reveal more so in every issue. But ultimately, like, it was good. I know that there was times during 4 it was kind of like, okay, we want to see a little bit more. We wanted a little bit more of that by 5 or 4. I think if we go back, you might hear that in some of the prior episodes. And but as I want to read this as a trade. I want to read this all together. I think it will read better in a trade format, in a full arc. I really do think it would read a lot better. And but yeah, I enjoyed issue 6. I thought issue 6 was great, and I'm sad that it took us this long to get it, but I'm glad we finally got it.
Yeah, I think that having MJ Kim come back in, having Ulysses Ariola doing the colors, having all of that info dump that happened in issue 5 out of the way, so issue 6 could flow. I just think that there were a lot of elements that worked together to make this a really good issue. There were some awesome character moments, like we said, between, like at the end, between Dobbin and the Visitor. We had Dr. Silk kind of getting revealed more concretely. We had just so many of these cool moments, and so there's action in this book. There's heart in this book. There's intrigue, there's mystery, and there's, the ominous, like, what could possibly come next stuff that happens at the end that just makes it really interesting and intriguing. And it does make me curious, if we'll ever get some more, because I think that there's more ground that we could cover that would be really interesting.
Right. And I guess, I mean, that's a conversation after this book, I guess, is to kind of go with this next couple questions I have. But ultimately, when you look at issue number 6, I mean, I give this, to me, I give it a good B plus A minus, like 90%. I think it was good. I think it was solid. And then I overlook at the story, and I think it started a little slow at times in the first couple issues. But still, I'm going to be giving this overall, this is a good solid 85%, a B. So gets a passing grade for me.
So I think this issue is a solid A minus. Like, I felt like issue 5 was on the cusp between B and B plus, and I feel like this is right in that A minus range. Like, it is an A, but it's not, it's not at the top tier necessarily. It's not a Secret Weapons, unfortunately. It's not a The Valiant. However, it is really good. And I think overall that puts the entire series for me in that B plus range. I think that there are some problems that I have with this series. I don't think it's again, it's not the best thing that Valiant has ever done, but not everything they can do can be the best thing they've ever done. So I think this solidly fits in the line of what they've done. I think it's a solid addition to the lore of the Valiant universe, the modern day, present day Valiant universe. And I think it's definitely something worth reading. And again, like, even if you don't love the writing in this book, which I do think the writing is solid, there's a lot to enjoy. Even if you don't, other than that one issue that was done by a good, competent artist, the rest of the book is done by probably one of my favorites, which is MJ Kim, because she is just absolutely phenomenal, panel to panel, page to page. It's just so well done and well rendered that, I mean, you can't help but love reading this comic just to get to enjoy that art.
Yeah. One of the challenges I had with this book was really getting the characters' voices. right?
Sure.
That was one of the challenges. It seemed all rolling into one. The whole group. Just I don't know. It's hard to kind of capture their voices, and so that made it difficult for me. But yeah, and like you said, they all can't be perfect because if they all were, it would take away from the ones that really were on standing out. So, yeah,
Yeah, I think this is a solid book. I think it is a solid. I'm glad it's a part of the Valiant canon.
yeah,
And again, I would be happy to see these. I think that Sean kind of put it like these characters exist, and it wouldn't be the worst thing if they came back. But we also got Dr. Silk, which would be a really interesting character to see more from in the modern day Valiant universe.
yeah, because in all the books that he showed up on. I mean, they're talking about it in here about that he showed up on Unity. That he showed up in throughout Matt Kent's Rye series as well, and it really, I believe that he's been in quite a bit, but he's always had this like familiarity with the villains or with the heroes, right? With the Valiant, and so I think that's what makes it interesting is we need to get that where that familiarity came to knowing these guys really was. So that's one of the things that I would look forward to. And that was kind of one of my questions that I had for you guys on the chat and here is would you want another one of these if it took up one of the even if we went to 3 books a week? Would you want this to take up one of the 3 when that leaves Bloodshot still on the shelf, leaves Exo Manowar still on the shelf, and we have the Visitor, Shadow Man, and Ninjak? You know what I mean? Would that be? Would you rather have it? You know what I mean? I guess it's just that question because it does seem like you can only have 2. Which 2 do you want? And that I guess that's the hard part of it is when there's all these toys to play with and you have so little field or room to put them in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a really tough call, and I don't envy the people at Valiant who have to make that decision between, what characters are we going to push to the forefront, what characters are we going to create and shine a spotlight on that haven't been seen before, and what characters are we going to come back to that already have an established fan base, and like how do you balance all of that without going stale or, you can't just do the tried and true characters because then your line becomes stale. You can't just do the brand new characters because then your already established fan base is going to lose interest because they're not seeing their favorites. So riding that line and finding that balance has to be really difficult to do. So like I said, I don't envy the people who have to make those decisions. I just hope that, we get decisions made that give us good books. I really think one of the things that I loved about the way Dr. Silk was portrayed in this was that a lot of times he's the mustache twirling villain, and I felt like it was really cool that he kind of was a side character in this story, even up to the end where he was pulling strings that no one saw him pulling, and even after all is revealed, it's hard to like point to like exactly like, oh, okay, like he was really in the forefront of these actions or whatever the case is. And I think that like I thought that was really cool, a cool way to use him as a character where he's allowing everyone around him to think that they're making more decisions, and he's silently pulling the strings, and he's silently influencing people around him to go the direction that he wants them to, as opposed to being the major driving force that's at the forefront of whatever villainy is taking place in the comic book.
Right.
Yeah. So I thought he was used well.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, yeah, I do think that Ninjak Silk was used really well. And then just some data on the father was cool. So and I do hope we get him, and I do hope that we get to see him in some Rise series. I do hope we get to see him in some more current day, like you said. I think that'd be awesome. Sold.
Yeah. One thing we know is that there have been countless iterations of Dr. Silk, right? Like there have to have been for him to have been around as long as he ends up being around by the year 4001, 4002. So like knowing that there have been that many iterations, he's lived and died almost as many times as the Eternal Warrior. I'd love to see more of that, kind of like we had, in the Labyrinth story from Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, where what was the villain's name in that? Endless One or something like that? I can't remember.
In Wrath of the... Oh, God.
In the Labyrinth. Josh would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The guy that had 2 different color eyes. And took different people's bodies. I think like seeing a story with, the Visitor and Dobbin and having Silk be the villain, but being several villains throughout the course of the story, I think that would be really, really cool to see. I think there's a lot that could be done there to where like they don't even realize as the story progresses that these threats that keep coming at them are all Dr. Silk. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I think that would be really cool.
I think there's a ton of places that they can run with that. So
100%.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, there is one thing that we've been, the Undying one. There you go.
Undying one. Yes, thank you, Scott. That's what it was. I knew I was close, but not quite there. The Undying one was a really cool villain. Shout out to Robert Menditti for the amazing work he did at Valiant between Exo Manowar and the Eternal Warrior and Book of Death.
Yep.
Yeah. Some amazing stories told there.
And that was one thing I was kind of hoping with this little the Visitor is that it could have some tie into Spylock. You know what I mean? One of the first Spylocks, because we know Spylocks have kind of been passed down within that. So that was a good call too.
100%. Well, and then what Sean had said earlier, if this positron, the Visitor, could hook up with Ninjak, teach him about Father and Spylock.
Absolutely.
And then that could lead to have it be like a feedback loop where a character from the future who knows about the existence of Spylock comes back and helps Ninjak create the origin of Spylock and, have it go from there. Like, I think that's a really interesting concept that could be explored really well by the right writing, by the right creative team. So definitely a lot of, I think one of the things that this book does the best is it publishes a lot of really interesting questions that give future writers, whether it's Paul Levitz or somebody else coming in and picking up some of these threads, there are a lot of really interesting questions posed here that the right creative team could turn into some amazing stories.
Absolutely. So
and that, I think, is a huge win in and of itself. That alone is a great thing for a miniseries to have added to the Valiant universe.
Yep. Well, do we want to get into kind of that special thing we're going to throw out?
Oh my God, I'm so stoked for this. I have been so can I just say what it is? Can we just say what we're talking about here?
Of course you can, Eric.
You're not going to let me say what it is. So Greg, being the super awesome, cool dude that he is, even with as crazy busy as he has been, hooked us up with a special image that we get to show, which is a page from an upcoming comic. And it's from an upcoming comic that I'm super, super excited about. I was not here to talk about Shadow Man #2. However, I did really enjoy that book. I think it's doing a lot of really interesting things. The female character that we saw at the end of issue 1 kind of shows up again in issue 2. I'm really interested to see where that goes. So I'm really excited for issue #3. And here we have a page from issue #3. Look at that art.
Dude, and it's Shadow Man, 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 Shadow Man. Dude, John Davis Hunt is not taking a single panel off.
And the thing is, it's so solid and consistent.
Single panel. And so there's so much to look at within this. It looks like it's just Shadow Man in red when you look at it. But, I mean, you're getting, it looks like Baron Samedi in that alleyway, the hands pulling them and dragging them up. And then you just get the character design of Jack, which is they were talking about that. And that was actually in the back of this book, I believe, was John Davis Hunt interview that I got to read on one of those. And it was talking about that him moving in the spirit of the shadows is that smoke flame, black smoke flames that are with Shadow Man. And it's a really cool character design. And it really kind of, it doesn't change him, but it changes him, but it sticks to it. It's really well done.
What I think is so cool about the way that John Davis Hunt is doing Shadow Man, and I think it's displayed really well on this page, is we have this like lifeless, emotionless version of Shadow Man's face, and yet somehow John Davis Hunt is able to draw a wide range of emotions onto that face. Like, I think that's a really cool juxtaposition, that it's like skeletal and emotionless, yet very emotive and expressive.
Absolutely. And that's I think that was kind of the fun part about reading that interview. If you get a chance to read the back of that book with that interview, and he says, that's one of his enjoyment is actually writing or drawing Shadow Man, because he is getting the ability to basically have him, the face have affect, the face to have emote, and really build that. I think it's that, and it shows a lot in these panels, just the things that he's going through there, anger, pissed off, just intimidation, and then fear or whatnot in the bottom. It really does play a great piece. I'm excited for more to Shadow Man to come. I'm really hoping that we get a lot more of the dark, Shadow Man dead side, dead characters like Punk Mambo. It's just give me more Shadow Man all the way around. So.
Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time talking up how great MJ Kim is, and I think John Davis Hunt is right up there as one of those artists who is great at the cinematography aspect, picking the angles in the panels, and exactly what's going to be portrayed in each panel, and then also executing it. And Scott, yeah, that's a good point. In issue 2, he's like, I think I'm going to punch him. I want to see that happen. Hopefully we get that moment where Shadow Man finally has had enough and hauls off it. But of course, knowing Samedi, like, he'll have a trick up his sleeve where it'll end up working to his favor. So who knows? Maybe that wouldn't be in Jack's best interest to punch him, but I still think it would be a fun panel, a fun page to see.
Well, I mean, you think about it, like back in the day in high school, some of your best friends were guys you punched in the face. And so maybe they could figure out how to make that work of like, hey, I needed that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we could smack some sense into Samedi. But if he hasn't had it this long, it's not going to happen. And, Baron's going to be Baron. And, yeah, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating book. And then we also got to see a couple images. We don't have them here, sorry, because those weren't exclusive, of some Javier Polito's art from Ninjak to coming. So again, I'm really hoping that Jeff Parker brings it. I've liked Jeff Parker. I thought he did really good at 007, so it makes sense that Ninjak would be his kind of character to run with. And maybe the art will grow. Maybe the story will work within it. I do like some of the layouts. I'll give it that. The layouts look quite entertaining and interesting. And sometimes the reserve of art of being so simplistic is actually really difficult at times. So,
Yeah, we've seen that there are action-packed pages coming from the Ninjak book. So even if the art isn't my favorite my personal top favorite style, which I love, the Miko Swyans of the world and Louis LaRosas and Jim Lee and, Brett Booth and like these, really detailed artists. Even if we're not getting that from Javier Polito, if we're getting a well-written action-packed comic, I still think I can enjoy it. So I'm still looking forward to seeing what Ninjak's all about, this new Ninjak story and where it goes. And, and then what else is coming down the road? Because we still know we're getting the Harbinger. We know that more X-Men Noir is coming. Yep. Gotten a couple little hints that there may be some, Bloodshot down the road. Not necessarily this year, but hopefully next year, if things work out well. We may get to see that. I don't know, obviously, but
yeah. There's been conversation back in the day of Archer and Armstrong returning. So that is something that I would love to see. I'm well overdue on that. I would assume there's going to be something Faith, because that's they're kind of, I feel like there's a push for Faith. So hopefully Shadow Man goes for a while. Hopefully we get some more Dan Abnett and some Eternal Warrior or Rye or Dan Abnett and something would be phenomenal. And then we could still have a couple more here and there. So I'm hoping that, the world's opening back up. The rumor has it that, in the next couple of weeks, there's going to be no more masks again, and or some places probably still have it, but they're opening back up. Concerts. I bought a concert ticket today for the future. I'm really excited for that.
Nice.
So that makes me happy. So got some football coming up soon. So yeah, so that's the part that I'm excited for. So
yeah, when cons come back and we can get together and enjoy our love of comic books with other people who also have that same passion. That's all going to be awesome, and meet and converse with artists that we're fans of, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. I hope that we see the line expand sooner rather than later. Obviously, that's a matter for the higher ups at Valiant to determine what's the correct move there, but hopefully we do see an expansion of the line at some point, and it leads to the ability to do things like The Visitor that have new never before seen characters, and also bring back our favorites and have Exo Manowar on the shelf and Bloodshot, and be able to pick up a Ninjak or an Eternal Warrior comic book or Faith or whatever the case may be. We definitely want to be able to see all those awesome fan favorite characters, and also have space for the new ideas that new talent bring to the company. So hopefully, as the world opens back up and cons start rolling in and people start getting more excited about spending their money on comic books every week, we see more of that and get that expansion of the Valiant universe that we're all holding our breath for.
Yep. Yeah, and hopefully we can figure out how to get you over to Rose City Comic Con. I think you would enjoy it and have a blast, because the Moose is going to be there, Josh is going to be there, I'm going to be there. The only thing missing is you, and everybody else that's on the chat. Scott, get you over there.
Let's get Sean
over there. Let's get everybody together. Let's have a good time. Everybody, let's rock and roll. Rose City Comic Con, that'll be fun. And hopefully we get some more books. Hopefully we get some news, some panels, and some creators to show up there. Like you said, world's opening back up. I hope everybody keeps safe still, and hope everybody keeps safe. Hope things like that happen.
Safe, healthy, getting together, having fun. All those things at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm right there too. I don't really see A&A as goofball comedy. I think, especially in the 2012, I think at times it was very well intelligent goofball. Like, it was some goof, but it was very well intelligent, and it was really uncovering the mysteries of the world. I don't know. I dig it. And I think really when you look at that book, it was one of the most important books that tied in so much of the universe. You had an eternal brother, right? You had a Psyot, right? And then you had just the corruption and the big sect. And and it was fun, it was good. And then you had, the Archer with Faith, there was so much fun there, dude. And then Armstrong is just perfect humor, and just it was a heartfelt buddy duo, and not as goofball as Quantum and Woody. Goofball's great for some, but I felt like it did a good job of getting goofy. It was goofy, but it wasn't goofball.
So I'm happy to be the odd man out here. I think that Rafer Roberts' take on A&A is the best I've ever read. I really, really enjoyed his style and flavor for those characters. I thought it was really well done. I will admit that he could also probably write a really fun, goofy Quantum and Woody story, but I do think that I really enjoyed what he did with A&A.
Oh, I do think Gub Gub Davey that was, I do think that was goofball, but I feel like when I think of the heart of A&A, I don't feel it as being that over slapstick. So that's my heart of what I believe A&A should be.
Yeah, no, and I think that there's a lot of love for the Van Lente run of A&A, and I definitely respect that. That's just not my personal favorite version of A&A. I really like the Rafer Roberts style.
You did like it? That was your favorite?
I loved the Rafer Roberts version of A&A. I think that was for me, that was the best version of A&A.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked both of them. I enjoyed Venditti's. I thought that was some of Venditti's best work, to be honest, that I liked. But Either way, I like it. So bring it back, and we can run from there. Well, it was a fun show, man. Got to finally get the Visitor. Thank you, Valiant, for finally getting us that. I'm glad you
Yeah.
owned up to that and paid true on that. So
Yeah, I'm really glad that that got delivered. We got to read the rest of the story. We got to see how things kind of wrapped up. And if we hadn't gotten these last two issues, we would have never known that Dr. Silk was even in it. So I'm really glad that we got to see that get revealed. And like I said, the best thing that I think this the Visitor run adds to the Valiant universe is the questions that it asks. The future writers can come in and try to build on, and add more to the tapestry that is the Valiant canon.
it's more on the play field. I like it. Has more toys to play with. So
Yes, absolutely.
awesome, dude. Eric, good to see you again, man. Glad you're back.
Yeah, same to you. I'm happy to be back. It's always good to see you and chat with you, and hopefully it's not a long time before we do it again.
193 coming up soon. So
Oh
y'all
yeah,
out there, be valiant, stay valiant. Get valiant first, and then stay valiant.
do those things.
Later.